Title: My wife was too excited about my promotion. When I followed her that night, I understood why my coworkers were laughing. I knew something was wrong the moment she smiled too hard. We were still standing in the kitchen, my promotion letter on the counter, the ink barely dry. She hugged me like she'd rehearsed it, tight, fast, overdone. Her excitement arrived before mine did, loud and brittle, like applause from someone who hadn't watched the performance. At work, the laughter came later, not to my face, never that brave. It lived in pauses, in glances that lingered too long, in congratulations that landed a second late. Men I'd trained, men I'd outperformed, men who suddenly found the ceiling fascinating when I entered the room. I told myself it was jealousy. Promotions do that to people. That night, she said she was meeting a friend to celebrate me. She wore the black dress I liked, but never asked for anymore. Perfume she saved for occasions that didn't include me. She kissed my cheek like a habit, not a choice. I waited 10 minutes. Then I followed her. We didn't start this way. That's the part that still matters. We were poor together once, shared takeout on the floor, dreams stacked higher than the rent. She believed in me before anyone else did, or at least she played the role perfectly. When I worked late, she waited. When I failed, she steadied me. When I succeeded, she clapped first. Or maybe I just wanted to believe that. Trust isn't loud. It's built in silence, brick by brick, and so is betrayal. I didn't tail her like a jealous husband. I followed her like a man collecting data. She didn't meet a friend. She met a pattern. Same parking garage, same black sedan, same man stepping out with the confidence of someone who'd never had to hide. I recognized him immediately. One of the laughs, one of the delayed congratulations. Senior enough to matter, arrogant enough to assume immunity. I stayed in my car, watched reflections instead of faces. Glass never lies when people think they're alone. Her hand found his arm easily, muscle memory. That hurt more than the kiss that followed. I didn't feel rage, not yet. I felt clarity. I didn't confront her. I didn't flinch. I went home and slept beside her like a man who'd misplaced nothing. In the morning, I kissed her forehead and left for work with a mind sharpened by purpose. I installed cameras under the excuse of security. She never asked why. I hired a private investigator with credentials and patience. I moved half our savings into an account she'd never noticed because she never handled numbers. I spoke to a lawyer recommended by a man who'd survived worse than infidelity. At work, I became invisible. I let them underestimate me. Laughter grows when it's unchallenged. Every message, every meeting, every room key, I collected it all. Dates, times, witnesses, patterns. I learned the cost of their hotel rooms and the lies they used when billing expenses. I learned how long betrayal thinks it has before it gets sloppy. They got sloppy. First, I waited. My wife grew careless. Confidence does that. She stayed out later, lied worse, forgot which version of the truth she'd sold me the night before. The cameras caught everything. I never watched more than I had to. Evidence doesn't require suffering. At work, I let my promotion mature, let expectations build, let my boss praise my integrity in meetings where the wrong people listened. I documented irregularities, financial ones, ethical ones, the kind that end careers quietly. Then I chose a date, the company retreat, mandatory attendance, spouses invited, speeches scheduled, smiles rehearsed, perfect. I requested the floor under the pretense of gratitude. My wife smiled in the front row, confident, beautiful. Wrong. My coworker sat 2 seats away from her, pretending not to know her, outside of polite nods and shared secrets. I spoke about loyalty, about trust, about how success magnifies character. I watched the room lean in. Then I changed the slide. Dates, messages, photos, expense reports, hotel footage time-stamped and undeniable. Gasps arrived late, like the laughter once had. My wife stood halfway before sitting back down, the blood draining from her face in real time. I didn't look at her. I looked at him. He didn't laugh. Security escorted him out before the final slide finished loading. HR asked me to step aside, voices trembling with a respect they hadn't earned. My boss didn't meet my eyes until he did, and then he nodded, once, slow and heavy. At home, the confrontation was quieter. She cried, apologized, rewrote history with the desperation of someone who'd lost control of the narrative. I listened. Not because I needed answers, but because I wanted her to understand how thoroughly she'd been seen. I handed her the divorce papers, already signed, already filed. She asked when I'd stopped loving her. I told her the truth. When you thought I was stupid. I kept the promotion. More than that, I earned the reputation that followed. The man who doesn't miss details. The man who doesn't raise his voice. The man who ends things cleanly. They stopped laughing. Sometimes, late at night, I think about the version of me who might have screamed, who might have begged, who might have forgiven. He didn't survive the promotion. I did. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, waits, and walks away without looking back.